Last time I did a overview demo of the third wave, just me playing around with it. And since then I've realized that I need to do a couple more videos, probably one on the FX section and another on the modulation routes, the mod matrix. Tonight I was playing around with the mod matrix and I posted some information about what's actually in the list in terms of sources and destinations. And I came up with the need to test the audio input mod source. So it's the last one in the list, and the easy thing to do is to pass it to OS1 frequency and set the amount up. In this case I have two oscillators running. OS1 is wavetable 6, OS2 is wavetable 15, and there's not really too much more going on. They're both maxed out on level, nothing else is going on in the filter section, there's not any other envelopes or LFOs set up. There's no effects. What I have done is I've copied that one part onto two different parts by going to parts, changing the part 2, the fourth knob over here, to part 2, and then hitting copy, and that copied that the first part over to the second part. And then I panned the first part to the left, second part to the right, just to get a little bit more stereo spread. The stereo spread is zeroed out over here on the right. So that's just normal. Great. And then I was looking around for mod sources to use, and I was going to use my Eurorack, but I don't have enough of the right adapters, and I just gave up. And so, looking around the room, I found the SOMA Ether, and this is an interesting device that kind of uses a very strange AM radio design to basically, it's a kind of it's a weird design that picks up radio frequency and magnetic, electromagnetic waves, and the top knob here is sensitivity, the bottom knob here is volume, and there's an on-off switch. And if you haven't played with one of these things, they're kind of interesting. And one of the cool things you can do with the synth is this thing is just going directly into the back of the synth. In the miscellaneous menu, there is a setting for audio in level to filters, and you can kind of hear the thing if you turn it on. Okay, I guess you don't have to play it. This is what the SOMA Ether hears, and if you touch the little prongs on the top, you get different. Your body ends up acting like an antenna, and if you move it near screens or other digital electronics like these lights up here, this is the Innovation launchpad up here. The LEDs on it do a lot of weird stuff in the clocking. So this allows you to take all those weird radio frequencies and turn them into audio that, yeah, you could go in and sample, but you could also use it as the mod source on the input. So what I found while playing was you set it up to pitch. I'm actually going to turn off the pass-through here so you can't hear it anymore. Let me turn it down an octave so you can see what my hand is doing. What's happening is that just moving this thing around changes the output of this thing down near the low end of the frequencies where it's down near DC it's basically a DC offset that you're generating as this thing moves through a magnetic field, and there's always a magnetic field around you. So as this thing moves, the voltage, the ground voltage, there's a DC offset that kind of gets put in, and that DC offset plus the AC output of this thing gets mixed together, put into the the audio in, and the audio in is then adjusting OS1 frequency. So if I turn off OS2, you'll hear it maybe a little bit better. Let me pick a different wavetable here, the mod wheel. You can change the sensitivity as well and the volume. I think it's a little bit easier to hear when you can actually hear both oscillators, oscillator 1 and 2. So that's pretty fun. I was not expecting this thing to be that dynamic as I moved it around. So yeah, okay, maybe you don't always get a chance to reach over to the mod wheel. Maybe you don't want to have this thing glued to your wrist, but it's definitely an interesting way to get a different modulation source that you wouldn't normally expect into the third wave. I assume that this might also be able to get hooked up to what's the other source called? Pedal? Expression pedal, effectively. If the expression pedal was able to actually, pick this up as well, then you could probably use this on any other synths. I'm kind of leery about plugging audio gear directly into audio inputs unless I know what the ranges are. I know that a lot of expression pedals kind of have a pretty limited range about how much voltage you're supposed to put into them. And so I generally, I just haven't played with it too much, but this thing doesn't put out loud enough volume. As far as I've found, I've kind of kept it at half, and it gets plenty of signal into the synth to be able to play around with. And the fact that you can sit there and listen to kind of the weird ambient noise with the thing just sitting there running in the background at the same time, you might find something interesting to do with it. I don't know, it's really fun. So figured I'd show a small amount of that. I will do another video about the effects section, a little bit more of the interesting things that you can do with the mod matrix. Having audio in and audio out and the 3 oscillators be able to be used as sources is really interesting. You can do some really cool stuff with it, especially when the destinations are also like FM amount and the pitch. So you can do some really cool stuff with it. I'll show another video about that, but this is kind of a hack together, so hope it's okay. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.